Hey guys, welcome to another collection video, and this time around we are looking at more strategy guides for the original Legend of Zelda. This is sort of a series within the series in that this is the third video I'm doing about strategy guides, in particular for the original Legend of Zelda. So let's do a little recap here. This is one of the earlier collection videos I did. This is the Million Publications strategy guide, and this is one of my favorite strategy guides. It has a lot of unique artwork for virtually all of the enemies and bosses, and the dungeon format here where it shows the screenshots and all the enemies that are in the particular room and the mini maps. We heavily based our original Legend of Zelda strategy guide based on this particular guide, our strategy guide we have at the website. So one of my favorite guides. You should check out the collection video for a more in-depth look at this one. I also did a collection video on the Futami strategy guides. At the time I only had these two right here. This was like a very introductory version. It only has like the first 3 dungeons. It's kind of poorly formatted, has some unique artwork, but nothing spectacular. At the time I only had these two, but it turns out there's a third one, or sort of a third one, right here, and you'll see these look remarkably similar. It turns out this was actually these were the original releases. This came out both in 1986, this one on May 10th and this one on May 25th, so just 2 weeks apart, a few months after the release of the original Legend of Zelda. This one was a more advanced version, it covers more of the game, covers more of the dungeons, while this one only covered the first 3. I believe this one gets up to the first 6. Has more artwork, more screenshots, and it's just overall a better guide. The one I previously covered, and you can see the collection video for these two, I take a more in-depth look. This is basically an expanded or reproduction version of this one. So it's almost like a trio. It goes in order in this sense. This one, as you can see, I don't really know what it says here, but it has the identical cover. It's 30 yen more. This was 380 yen. And it's slightly bigger, more in depth, and yeah, you should take a look at the Futami collection video for a more in-depth look at least these two. But so those are previous ones I had already gone over. This time around we are going to look at these two. These are 2 brand new strategy guides that I haven't done collection videos for. Not exactly brand new in the sense that they were both well over 20 years old. So these were both produced by futabasha. I can't really pronounce it. It's a Japanese printing company. And as you can see by the overall format, just the pink stripe and the little like star logo type circle with spikes, they're very similar. So this one was originally released in 1986, and I'm just going to take a brief look at it. It's got a nice little fold-out map with a lot of the information. This is like just the overworld map. Kind of big here. On the back side we got dungeon maps, so Eagle, Moon, and the various dungeons. So it's a cool little fold-out map. I always found these fold-out maps to be very useful, in particular for the original Legend of Zelda. I think the best form of a guide for the original game is just looking at dungeon maps. That actually helped me out very well. So it's always nice to have these large fold-out maps. So this has a lot of unique artwork, and it's sort of in this style, which can't really pinpoint how to describe this style, but Link looks kind of funny with a little smirk. I like his shield though, it looks kind of cool. And it's filled with artwork throughout, and it's got item appendices. These are just with the sprite images. And then similarly we have, I guess these are the various characters. We got some enemy appendices, and it shows some statistics, a description, a lot of cool information. It's all in Japanese, so I can't really understand it myself. And then it has the overworld broken up into sections with the big overworld map and the various screens and like the various enemies and characters and items that you can get in those particular screens. And it goes throughout the overworld just like that. And it's pretty cool. I like the overall breakdown. Has some nice artwork. You can see like a little Armo statue here and the little whistle above it. and some medicine or water of life or potion, whatever you want to call it. So it's a nice, cool little format, like a little River Zora over here, just chilling, kind of funny. Little raft. It's got some fun looking artwork. I think most of the enemies, there's a Tektite, we got a lever, there's just an arrow, and there's a P-hat down there. So a lot of cool artwork, and it's pretty in-depth for the overworld portion of the game. The latter portion of the guide, it does get into the dungeons. That's a cool little map down there with all the various items, and it's all sort of marked. But then we get into the actual dungeon, and it shows it where it is on the overworld map. And I don't really know what this is. These numbers, maybe it has to do with enemy breakdown or something, I'm not sure. Or number of rooms, who knows what it is. Rooms, keys, maybe. In any case, it does a pretty good job. Has a big, like a screen-by-screen overworld map. I like the little official artwork of the Aquamentus boss over here, and it does a good job. There's the Dango, and I guess that is that a Goria? I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I think it's a blue Goria, because those are in this dungeon. And yeah, so it's some nice artwork. Manhandla does a pretty good job and shows the actual names, Snake, of the dungeons. They're all actually named. I don't even think it mentioned them in the game, the actual names, but it does in the guide. So lizard, dragon, and they're basically named how they are shaped in a way. So I like how they have demon, but it's demon. I didn't know there's an A in demon. Maybe that's just a mistranslation. Oh, I assume so. Lion and Death Mountain, which apparently is a hyphenated word, and I did not know that. So overall, this is a pretty solid guide. Congratulation? Yes. Okay, so it covers the first quest almost through its entirety. Has brief mentions right here of the second quest, but not really. So I like that little artwork of Link walking. So this was, I believe, 400 yen at the time, and released in 1986. This one, I'm not exactly sure when this released, but it shows a copyright of 1986, but that might just be where the game was when. But it does have futabasha, so I'm not sure if this was just released and then reprinted later. Because over here it has an ad, on the side panel for the cover, the back cover, it shows stuff with 1990 releases. In any case, this was a much shorter strategy guide. As you can see, it's incredibly thin, especially in comparison to this one. And it's very brief, very basic, very generic. It still has a fold-out map, very similar, I would say, over here, and I believe it has, I'm not sure if this is the first and second quest, I'm not sure offhand, I'd have to look more in depth at the map, but yeah, kind of cool. Yes, this is the second quest map, actually, I can tell based off that right there. So it has a fold-out map of the first and second quest, and this is basically just a dungeon guide. This is just a little appendice here. Shows the items, the enemies. It's a lot more condensed. The enemy appendices in this one went on for pages and pages. This one it's done in 2 pages right here. So basic information, then it just jumps right into the actual dungeons. It's basically these very generic looking maps, but hey, it gets the job done since it just shows the map and it shows what's in it, brief description, and this is just the table of contents, I guess. And dungeon level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, all the way 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it shows the whole, look at that again. This page just looks so complicated looking at it, but it's nice to see it laid out like this. What's cool about this particular guide is, though, it has the same format, albeit it's very generic, but it actually has full maps and like a guide throughout the entire second quest. That's actually kind of rare for the original Legend of Zelda, the strategy guides, since most of them didn't actually have, most of the strategy guides only briefly touched on the second quest. So this has maps all the way through. As you can see, the final level, Death Mountain, looks like Ganon's head in the second quest, as opposed to the first quest where it looked like a skull. So this is a nice map. It's very generic, very poorly, I wouldn't say poorly done since it gets the job done, but no artwork. It's not really nice to glance through. Cool thing about there is second quest, if you didn't know, like this is the first 5 levels spell out the word Zelda. You can see this one's shaped like a Z. This one is shaped like a D. If you can see it, that's kind of hard to see. Level 3 here, shaped like a little L. So Z, D, L. Obviously an A. And of course an E. So you can scramble the first 5 dungeons and spell Zelda, and then afterwards it just went into things that just fit together. But yeah, so these were the 2 strategy guides released by Futabasha. I believe they were both in '86, although this one it's a little iffy. It's kind of hard to find information on these things. I mean, if you look for them online, the only information you are going to find on most of these strategy guides, well, is at Zelda Dungeon. We have our strategy guides page on the Zelda Dungeon wiki, which I'm steadily building, has information on all of these. Well, that's going to do it for this video. So these are just some of the Legend of Zelda strategy guides that I have. I have considerably more of them for both the Legend of Zelda, the original game, as well as for the entire series. But there's a lot of them for the original Legend of Zelda, in particular in Japan. Not many of them that released in English. But I'll be showcasing more of them in this sort of series within a series, and I'll probably do a 4th edition of the Legend of Zelda strategy guides at a later date. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned next time for some more collection videos. Take care, guys.